Hi, guys. Good morning. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the last session, we have seen how we can create a sync slicers and how we can create a drill through report or how we can apply drill through filters in order to get a leaf level data from the higher level data that we have come across it. And today I supposed to talk about this edit interactions in this particular section. Instead of going now, when I'm going to talk about the dashboard the design. So when we have a complete dashboard design, then in that particular place, it will be easy to show you. So since we're having a bits and pieces of explanation in this particular situation, I'll take this particular section when I'm going to talk about dashboard design. So where we can have a control of interaction between the visuals, and we're going to see the bookmarks and what is the purpose of bookmarks and how we can give actions to the buttons. We'll talk about it at the time of dashboard design. Let's talk about a charts. Let me open the file. So when you see here, I have a visuals. I have a visuals. So what is the purpose of this visuals is to visualize the data. So very first visual that we came across from this particular set of visuals is a slicer. So we have seen it, how we can bring that for reporting and how we can apply a formatting. What are the slicer settings are there that we have seen in the previous sessions. Now, apart from this, we have a charts also. So I wanted to talk about charts. Especially I'm going to talk about this column family and bar family. So we'll be having a column charts and bar charts. If we can understand column charts, then you can easily understand bar charts also. The look and feel is going to change. The way you're going to understand or the way you're going to look is going to be slightly different, but more or less same. These two families charts. So the first line here, I'm having the first row from this all the visuals. I'm having a column and bar family charts. When you take any chart, we are going to have two things. One is y-axis and x-axis. We are going to have a y-axis and x-axis. So this kind of reporting, you may come across your education also. In your education also, you may have come across this. You may not use, I mean to say, you didn't use this kind of tool, but this kind of charts that definitely you are going to come across your education, because I came across this in my, if I'm remember, I'm sure about this in 10th class. We used to have a one graph. They used to ask a question. They will give a data points, and based on the data points, they will ask us to draw the chart. So this is kind of one question will be there. Okay, so in the same way, you may come across that. So what we are going to show in y-axis and what we are going to show in x-axis. What we are going to see in x-axis and what we are going to see in y-axis. So what is the purpose of this column charts? Let me write here few points. To visualize the data, to understand why we are going to do is to understand the business. We're having, of course, we have other charts also. Okay, so they are also going to have a x-axis and y-axis. There are two different types of families. One is column family and bar family. These two family charts we are going to have here. Let me take a column family. What is the purpose of it? These charts are used to compare the data, compare the numbers by category. So these charts are used to compare the numbers by category. So we have a here under the column family, we have a clustered column chart. And stacked column chart. 100% is stacked column chart. So these three charts are there here. Under the column family, in order to compare the data by category, we are having three different charts under the same column family. All these three will be used to compare the numbers by category. So now I'm going to talk about each and every individual. So when the moment you see the report or when the moment they're asking a requirement, we can feel what it is suitable, how we can use it. So cluster column chart, I'm just going to take. How exactly the clustered column chart is going to be there? Just give me a minute. I would miss something. One moment, please. Yeah. So how exactly it is going to be there is, we are going to have a y-axis and we are going to have a x-axis. And then you can have a columns here. Something like this. So in x-axis, we are going to show, in y-axis, what we are going to show is, we are going to show the measure, or we can say metric. We can say that as a measure or metric. And In x-axis, we are going to show category. So I told you, right? So by using this column chart, we can compare the numbers by category. We can compare the numbers by category. So that is what I'm just trying to say here. So what number it is, I'm not giving it. I'm just giving a generic naming standard. Here I'm just giving a measure. A measure means a fact, or a measure means a number, like a sales, profit, and so on. So category may be anything. So this is a y-axis I'm having here. This we can call it as a y-axis, and this is a x-axis. So whatever the column is there in the x-axis, whatever the column is there in the x-axis will be treated as a category. And whatever is there in the y-axis, that we can treat as a fact, or that we can treat as a number. So this is a column chart. If it is a cluster column chart, this is a normal column chart, we can say. And if it is a cluster column chart, you're going to have a slight difference. Same to same, you're going to have it. Y-axis and x-axis. So we are going to have this is one group. And this is another group. So something like this, it is going to have it. Okay, so this is one group, and this is one group, and this is one group. And here this we can call it as the same. I just wanted to say it is a metric. And here I wanted to say it is a category. And here these two parts, this we can call it as a subcategory. So do not think that this is a product category and product subcategory, something like that. Whatever is there in the x-axis will be treated as a category, and whatever is there in a group, that we can call it as a subcategory. So when the moment you see the chart, you can feel how exactly it is going to be there. So we are talking about this entire chart, we can call it as a clustered column chart. This we can call it as a clustered column chart. And this is a normal column chart. So normal column chart you cannot see in the Power BI. You can see only cluster column chart. As I said, there is a few number of charts are there under the column family. One is cluster column chart, stacked column chart, and 100% stacked column chart. So presently I'm just showing here is only cluster column chart. So cluster column chart is used to, it is used to compare the numbers by category when there is no subcategory. So when there is no subcategory, we can also use the same clustered column chart in order to compare the numbers. And apart from this point, there is one more point I wanted to give. It is used to compare the numbers by subcategory. So when I say we are going to compare the numbers by subcategory, 100% there will be category. Without category, we cannot expect a subcategory, because if you see this, without category, you cannot expect a subcategory. So when the moment I say we are going to compare the numbers by subcategory, then make sure 100% there is a category. Okay, so no one will say, they're just going to say in the requirement in x-axis so and so column, in y-axis so and so column, and in the legend just so and so column. They're going to give that kind of requirement. But in general, to make you understand, I'm just trying to give this some points about clustered column chart. So if you want to compare the data at the category level, you can compare the data at the category level. If you want to compare the data at the subcategory level, then you can compare the data at the subcategory level also. So it's all depends on the requirement, you can do it. Now let me create a one report here. Okay, so once we create it, what we are going to do this. If we know one chart in the Power BI, 90% of the charts is very much similar. The only you need to understand why we need to use the chart. If you know that, that is more enough. Okay, so and even most of us may not be aware of each and every chart. What is the purpose of the chart? But we're all aware of how we can create the chart and how we can format it, how we can visualize it. Each and every developer is going to be aware of it, but the context of the chart may not be aware of it. But I'm just trying to give a context also why we are going to use that particular chart. So I wanted to create a report here, use case, create a report to show sales by education. Sales by education, I wanted to do it. It's a simple chart. I wanted to do this. So when I say sales by education, 100% is in y-axis, it is going to have a sales. In x-axis, we are going to have a education. Okay, so I'm just taking that also here for reference. Here it is a sales, and here it is a education. I'm just taking a sales and education. Now from where we need to bring the data. So whenever you are going to do any design, what is the data source for this? So at this point of time, we know how we can bring the data from only Excel file. I'm going to read the data from the same Excel file. First, you have to identify the data points. So I'm saying my data source. Today I will share files in the classroom. So one of you only got the access. Let me give a link to get the access. Just give me a minute. Because if you can have that access, then you can start doing the practice. Just keeping that invitation link in the chat box. So just raise a request and I'll give access. So once I have it, then I'll upload all the files. So you can download from there. So just observe here, I'm having a sample file. Just open this file. So I wanted to find the sales and I wanted to find education. So these details I wanted to find here. Okay, so you just imagine they have given this Excel file and they're not giving a in which sheet we're having all those details. So if this is the case, then we have to identify where exactly my data points are there. So that we can call it as a data discovery. So okay, so we have to identify that. So if they're not giving all the details, then that is our responsible to find the data points as per your requirement. So in my requirement, I have a x-axis and I have a y-axis. In x-axis, we are showing the sales. In y-axis it is a sales, and in x-axis it is a education. So just try to find each and every sheet. You have to go. So if it is a Excel file, then there will be no option. You have to check it. And here also it is not available. Education. So we have to check in all the places. Is there education or not? Here also is no education. Customer, let me check. I don't think I have a details here. Okay. So I'll do one thing. I'm just going to prepare some sample data. For time being, you just observe how I'm going to do it. But we are going to have a separate talk about it. How exactly we can write a SQL code and how we can install. So why SQL Server is important for Power BI. We'll talk about it. So I need a sample data, some sample data here. So which is recommended by Microsoft. From there only I'm going to take some sample data. And from there, we'll visualize this data as expected. So I'm just taking a Adventure Works DW 2022. Fact internet sales. Okay. So I'm just taking this records into the same sample file, copy with the headers. Just giving some name for this. Let's save it. So here, if we go and check your column is education available or not, you can find, just observe education. You can see English education is the name of the column. And if you try to find the sales also is available. Sales amount. So S is required. And there is a education also, education column is required. So there are many columns are there. I don't need to remove the columns. I wanted to keep all these columns as it is because this is the underlying data source. We are not supposed to do any modification for this data source. Now I'm just trying to read the data from this particular sheet. Read the data from Sample.xlsx file of sheet CustDetails. So from this particular sheet, I wanted to read the data. Let's go to your Power BI desktop. Hit on Excel workbook. So Excel workbook is used to read the data from the Excel. I wanted to read the data from there. Let me hit on Excel workbook. And let me take the path of the file. Let's browse the file sample, hit open. So CustDetails is the sheet name that we need to take it and hit on, just leave it as it is and I'm just going to hit on load. So no need to do any transformation at this point of time. You just check the checkbox. So we have to make sure to check this checkbox, otherwise this load is not going to be enabled. Let me hit on load. I have a cust details here and I'm just going to open a new page. Let me say it is a clustered column chart. So this entire page, I'm just going to have a clustered only. Just observe here. When I move the cursor, you can see here, clustered. Just hit on it. Then the visual come to in this location. I'm just going to expand this as per your requirement. Whatever the size you wanted to take, you can take it. As it is a first chart that we are going to see from this place, I'm just going to take this entire page with a single chart. With a single chart, I wanted to go so that we can have a better visibility. So I just taken it. So when you take the clustered column chart is having the x-axis, y-axis, legend, small multiples, and tooltips. So x-axis, clustered column chart is having the following sections. One is x-axis, and second is y-axis, and third is legend, and fourth is small multiples. You can see legend, small multiples. And fifth one is tooltip. So 5 sections are there for this particular chart. So whatever the charts that we're having column family or bar family, the same to same will be there. So once you know at least one chart, then you can easily understand others also. It's very simple and very easy. So x-axis, why we are going to use the x-axis? X-axis uses to show categories. Y-axis is used to show numbers. Okay, so in all the column family charts, I'm just going to say all column family charts are having the following sections. X-axis, it is used to represent category. So category means whatever the column is there in the x-axis will be treated as category. So x-axis is used to represent a category. Whatever the column is there in the x-axis, that will be treated as a category. And in the same way, we have y-axis. It is used to represent numbers or metrics. And then legend. It is used to represent subcategory if required. And small multiples, let me say small multiples. It is used to show same visual multiple times based on number of rows and columns. So when we see practically, then you can understand this particular point. But small multiples also there is a chances to use as part of the report. And then tooltip. It is used to show details when you move the cursor on the visual. Okay, now let's talk about this x-axis. How exactly it is going to be there as per this particular requirement. So in this requirement, I wanted to take x-axis is a category and y-axis is a sales. Let's come to here. I have a data point, so just expand this CustDetails. There are many fields are there. And if you're not in a position to identify where exactly it is, you can search that particular field name. Let's say sales amount. I wanted to go with the sales amount. The sales amount is there here. So what I'm just trying to do is I'm just selecting the checkbox. I'm not doing anything. I just selected a checkbox. So when the moment I check the checkbox, you can see here, automatically it is going to the y-axis. In y-axis, what it is there? Sales is there. Okay, so I'm just going to rename this field. If you wanted to rename that field, you can rename. Just double click on it. It will allow to rename. Just rename it. I just renamed. This entire column is total sales. This entire column is the total sales. I wanted to slice this sales. I wanted to split this entire sales by education. So where is this education? Just search about that. So when I search about the education, you can see here Spanish education, English education, French education, and so on. Depends on your requirement. You can choose the required columns. Here, I'm just going to take English education. You just check the checkbox. So when the moment I check the checkbox, the numbers are splitting. So previously it was entire sales. When the moment I check this checkbox, it is splitting the number across the education. So once you check this checkbox, you just close this one at this point of time, and now I'm showing the number here. Now this is a column chart. This is a column chart. Let me reduce some size. Yeah. So this is a normal column chart. So I told you by using the same cluster column chart, we can have a normal column chart also. So in Power BI point of view, this chart also is a clustered column chart because we are taking the visual with the name clustered column chart. So if you have this kind of requirement, if you wanted to compare the data by category, in this particular case, the category is education and numbers is sales. So sales by English education, it is having it. But this is not look and feel. You need to make this look and feel. To make this look and feel, I wanted to format this y-axis. I wanted to format this x-axis. I wanted to format this title, and I wanted to format this columns also. So that we can call it as a formatting. So we already seen how we can do formatting for a slicer. For slicer, just cross verify what you have done to make it look and feel. In the same way, for every chart, we have to do it. We are not just going to leave them. We have to do it. Okay, so whatever the options are there by default, that may not be sufficient for your requirement. And every company, every person is going to think in different way. So we have to do in that particular way. So whatever the customer is expecting, in the same way, we have to design the report. Now, I wanted to do x-axis formatting. You can close this, just minimize, and we'll be having enough space. You can see here there is a format. So format is used to format the visual. Format is used to format the visual. So build visual and format visual. So whenever you wanted to format it, we have to go to the format section or format pane. So this we can call it as a format pane. And this is the build pane. And this is the data pane. Okay, so build pane we are going to have very frequently. We are going to use and format also every visual going forward. For every visual, we are going to do the formatting. Just observe. I wanted to do the x-axis formatting. Or what options are there in order to go for formatting? If you know for one visual, then doing for other visuals is very simple. Most of the visuals are going to have the following format options. One is size and style. And second is a title. And x-axis and y-axis. And the fifth is legend, small multiples. And grid lines. So I'm just going to give the important things here. And zoom slider, you just ignore columns and data labels. reference lines. That's more enough. And let me give a little more different in the naming standard. So most of the visuals are having the following. Most of the visuals are, let me write in different way. Are categorized into two parts. One is visual, another is properties. Visual formatting part is having the following options. Okay, so we have a visual formatting and properties. Properties basically common for every visual. So whatever is specific to the chart that they brought into the visual side, and whatever is the common for every visual is brought into properties. Okay, so both are important. Visual section and properties section. Both are these two parts are important. So in the visual, we have in the visual section, we're having all these options, style and size. So I'm not going to give a definition. No one will ask what is the definition, size and style. But to work as a Power BI developer, we should know about how we can do formatting. So if you want to know about formatting, then we should know about all these options. So whatever I have written here, that is specific to the visual. In the same way, properties formatting part is having the following options. One is just hit on it. You can say data format. And then header icons. Header icons also is important. And third is tooltip. Tooltip is important. So few things are missing. Once something is I just failed. Okay. So previously this title also was there with this one, and there is a one more thing, border lines. Let me check where is this border.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask, sir. In my here, I don't have a. If you go to visual,
Mhm.
I don't have a size and style. I don't have a title. It's all in a general category. For me, in the
Okay.
visual, it started with x-axis, and the properties are in a subcategory. In a general.
Okay. So do one thing. Did you installed recently only, right? Your Power
Yeah,
BI.
very recent, very recent.
Okay. Do one thing. Go to your view.
Yeah.
Just is it open with in your system? Your Power
Yes.
BI.
Yes.
Go
Yes.
to your view and do you see these options in your place? Show panes.
I don't see any of them.
Okay, then wait a moment. Let me check options and settings. Just hit on this one. File,
Fine. Mm, yeah,
options and settings,
yeah,
options.
yeah, yeah.
Settings. I'm just checking what options is suitable for this. Yeah, modern visual tooltip. This one. Yeah, under the preview features, select the
Yeah,
preview features.
yeah.
In that, just check somewhere you can have a latest one. I forgot that naming standard. Auto modern visual tooltip, save map visual. Can you check the checkboxes? How you're having it?
Yeah, for me, shape map visual was unticked,
Just
and
check
Q
that.
and A, Q&A was unticked. Now I'm checking it, and import unticked anyway, and the connect to external semantic models is
Modern
unticked.
visual tooltip,
Yeah, it was unticked. Now I ticked it.
sparklines,
Yeah, metric
metric visuals,
visuals,
field
yeah.
parameters.
On object interactions unticked for me. Now I ticked it.
Check all these boxes.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much the same.
New card visual. Okay, so most of them are done, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and one more thing that I wanted to check. Preview features only is the one. Next is I wanted to check the version. Go to help and hit an about.
Oh, it says features required restart.
Help about. Are able to see the latest version.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now just close and reopen the same file.
Okay.
Did you open? Once you open, go to the view.
Just taking too slow. So,
Okay.
yeah, now I can see everything as what you showed. In a visuals, I have a size and styles and titles, and
Yeah.
then a properties tab.
Perfect then.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Max.
Yeah, no problem. So these things will say, because this is the latest version changes. Okay, so in the older version, the way you have seen previously, that was the older version, and latest version changes is looks like this. Okay, so how we can use these options, we'll see on tomorrow. I'm just saving this file. We'll continue from the same place, how we can make it as a look and feel with the help of formatting. Any question before stopping? And I shared the link. Just please raise the request. I'll give the access to the classroom to download the sample files for practice.
I mean, I can my folder is completely
Yeah,
empty in there.
Still, I didn't upload. Vivek,
Oh,
I'll do it.
okay.
Yeah. So once these people also raise the request and upload, I'll upload the files today itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
See.